Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Immense Networks, Cloud IT Management. Sharief, Ishaq in 30 minutes talking about the New Orleans Saints. Lane Kiffin met with the media after practice today. We'll get to some of that sound coming up in 15 minutes. Talked a lot of baseball in hour number 1. Talked to Jake Brown and Cooper Moore injuries, as well as our discussion with Glenn West, which centered around baseball for about 10 minutes. You can go check that out. Have not touched on basketball just yet, and we'll do that now. Will Wade's got a player, y'all. It's just one. They need 12 more, but he does have one, and it comes with an SEC pedigree. Mo Dioubate has committed to LSU. Mohamed Dioubate, who started his career at Alabama, played there in 23-24 and 24-25, played this past season at Kentucky. He will make his third Southeastern Conference stop at LSU this coming season, and I like this addition. I think it's a good one. He's not going to be your leading scorer. He's not going to shoot the lights out. He's probably not going to be first team All SEC. But he fills a role you must fill on a quality basketball team. He fills a role that has been filled at LSU by some different names over the years, some that you will remember fondly, some that you may not even remember. But this is a player in the mold of Marlon Taylor under Will Wade. This is a player that under the last 2 years of Matt McMahon, Jai Bailey, and Pablo Tamba filled. This is a role to a little bit of a different extent because Emmett Williams is a post player and Mo Dioubate is more of a perimeter player, but Emmett Williams did a similar role for Will Wade's best teams. Mo Dioubate is coming to LSU to be a long, athletic, rangy, hustling workhorse and do the dirty stuff. He's done it for 3 seasons in Southeastern Conference basketball. He played in 70 games over 2 years at Alabama. He played last year in 31 for Kentucky, missed a little bit of time for injury. He had an ankle injury that cost him about 3 weeks. But he started 10 games, played in 31. He's not been a high-volume shooter. He's not been a high-volume scorer. He's not been a starter for most of his time in the SEC. But he is a very, very defined role that he is very good at. And he will play that role at LSU. He will guard the best wing on the other team. He will get on the glass relentlessly from the perimeter. He will create second chance opportunities. He will block shots. He will get steals. He will throw down dunks, and he will get putbacks. And he's happy to do that. I can tell you what I think from watching the tape, and I will. But I also, when a player decides to leave, I like to judge the reactions from the place that player is leaving. And sometimes they're indicative of the type of player that is, and sometimes they're sour grapes. And I think that you can kind of parse through and figure things out. I mean, the Ole Miss fans all hate Lane Kiffin and say he's a choker in the big games, and they think he's just terrible human and all this kind of stuff. And the fact of the matter is that they know that Lane Kiffin elevated their program to the heights it had not seen since the 60s. And so they didn't appreciate him leaving, but I think deep down they all know that it's a big deal. So in that sense, it was an incorrect reaction. The Kentucky fans in Mo Diabate's replies on social media were overwhelmingly positive about how much they enjoyed watching him play and about how much he represented Kentucky well and what a joy he was to watch. And these are some of the best basketball fans in the country. So I liked that response to his tweet that he was entering the transfer portal. And I think this is a noteworthy addition. Now, again, I've watched the tape and I've looked at the stats. At Kentucky this past year, as I mentioned, 31 games, 10 starts. He averaged 8.8 points per game. He averaged 5.5 rebounds per game. He was a quality field goal shooter at 54%. He is not a good shooter as a whole. From three-point range, 21%. He only shot 28 of them. That's not really his game. But also from the free throw line, and this is really indicative of just how good a shooter you are, 65% from the charity stripe as a 6'7" player. He's not a good shooter. He's left-handed, not overly polished. The year prior at Alabama, he shot 61% from the line. His freshman year, he shot 47% from the line. This is not a scorer. This is not a volume shooter. This is not a guy with great touch, the ability to create his own shot. This is a junkyard dog on the perimeter. You put him on the other team's best scorer. You tell him to crash the glass where other guards don't. You tell him to finish around the rim. And I'll tell you what he is on offense, which is where this 54% shooting comes from. And look, 9 points a game is not nothing. Not everybody can drop 18 points per game. 9 points a game is a significant contribution, especially from a guy coming off the bench. But a lot of it is slashing. He's a good cutter. If he sees a lane, he can put it on the floor and get to the rim. And he's a great leaper and a good finisher around the rim. This is a role player. This is not, oh my gosh, Nate Oates has got a top 15 basketball program in the country. He signed him out of high school. Kentucky spent $22 million and felt like they needed to invest in him. This guy is a program changer. This is our dude. No, he's not that. He's not. He is a role player that you need on a good team. Again, I gave you the names. Like Marlon Taylor played this role excellently. Now, Marlon Taylor did more. He shot it a little bit better, and he wasn't as good dribbling the ball and getting to the rim. They're not the same, but you understand the role. 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", big leaper, and Dioubate is 6'7", can leap, and is physical. LSU's team 2 years ago under Matt McMahon, when they got off the bus, you could tell not physical, not strong enough. And that's why Matt McMahon wanted to go out and get Mike Nwoku, and wanted to go get Pablo Tamba, and wanted to go get some men that filled out the uniform a little bit better than what he had. Dioubate is that. He's chiseled. And I like this. Will Wade's got an idea of what he's trying to do. And he's got to go get an elite point guard. He's got to go get some dead-eye shooters. You've got to be physical in this league and get guys into your program that can handle big and talented 6'11" bigs. Like, there are a lot of pieces to this puzzle, but one of the pieces to your puzzle needs to be perimeter defender, rebounding guard. And Mo Dioubate fits that to a T. I listened to a little bit of Kentucky basketball podcasts around the time LSU played them and late when things weren't going as well, and just to kind of get a sense for what things were looking like for Mark Pope. And the overwhelming commentary on Dioubate was that he played his role wonderfully. And I think you can expect that at LSU. I as I mentioned this yesterday, and I'm not going to go any deeper into this, but I heard on Saturday or Sunday, doesn't matter. I heard one of the weekend days that they had made some significant headway on attracting players. And the fact that LSU had not announced a commitment or publicly received a commitment was of no concern, that there were probably 4 guys already in the boat. That's the word that's coming out. I don't know who they are, but the feeling is that LSU is already putting this roster together. And I trust Will Wade to do that. He had time to get his ducks in a row. He's got his staff here. They're hosting some visitors now. They're on Zoom calls constantly. They're going to get this thing moving in the right direction. I don't know if they're going to be the 3rd best team in the SEC next year or the 14th best team in the SEC next year. No idea. But the inclination that they're consistently whiffing in the portal and are struggling to scrape a roster together are not true. They're making headway. They're getting some things done. This is the first to leak out. And it would, quite frankly, be pretty stunning to me if I got in the car on Friday morning and went to Starkville and something else or 3 hadn't broken. That's kind of where we are in this cycle. It's coming, and I like this one. As long as you understand what his role is, and I wouldn't mind if he started. If he's your starting 3 next year, that is absolutely okay. If he's your 6th man, that's awesome. we'll see. We just got to see how the rest of the pieces fit together, and I'm excited about it. And I'll tell you this: I reluctantly talked about LSU basketball at times during the week in late January and throughout February. Reluctantly did it because I would rather do that than dive into Pittsburgh Steelers storylines or whatever else we could get into. I would rather keep it local. I want to keep it local. But I reluctantly gave you those stories and those comments and talking about games that LSU played when I felt like there was probably a sizable amount of the listenership that had checked out on the program. I don't feel that way anymore. I felt perfectly fine leading off this hour telling you about one player that Will Wade brought in because I believe that this town in November of next year is going to have a modicum of excitement about basketball. Now, that will ultimately rest on how well the football team is performing. And football will always drive the bus. And when you start playing your basketball season days around the LSU-Alabama football game, I understand how the pecking order works, okay? But I do feel like people are interested in basketball right now and will be excited about basketball in the fall. That's my hope. Maybe I'm misreading the situation, but I feel like that. And I'm excited about Mo Dioubate. I think he's a nice piece to add, assuming you fill in the requisite pieces around him. We'll see if that's the case or not. Speaking of football, Lane Kiffin met with the media earlier today after practice. Had some interesting things to say, specifically one about a true freshman who he really likes, who I took note of moving around at positions on Saturday. We'll talk about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Need a new truck? I got it for you. Up to $11,000 off of Silverados or 1.9 APR financing. How about up to $13,000? $13,000 off GMC Sierras. They've got them there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. So if you're looking for a new truck, look no further. Check them out, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, or online at FabryChevrolet.com. I've been telling you also for the last couple of weeks, summer's coming up. If you need a new road trip car for that summer vacation that you're excited about taking, got to load the kids up. Tahoes, Suburbans, Yukons, Denali's, great family options, and they've got them at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Check that inventory out online at FabryChevrolet.com. Make that short drive to St. Francisville and get behind the wheel of a Chevrolet or a GMC, courtesy of the Fabry family at Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Chugging along here on a Tuesday. Let me tell you about Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com. Storm season is coming up, obviously. If you want a look at your roof prior to storm season to make sure it's in good shape, Lifetime Roofing is happy to do that inspection for you. And if you need a new roof, they'll tell you. If you just need a repair, they'll tell you. If you just need a tune-up to fortify that roof for our summer months, they can do that as well. And Lifetime Roofing is a company you can trust. That's important in roofing because there are companies out there that just want to sell you their most expensive product. That's a new roof. But maybe it's not necessary. Maybe you just need that tune-up. Lifetime Roofing is happy to do that for you. They're here to help. They're here to serve this community because this is home. It's a Baton Rouge-based business. The ownership is from South Louisiana with roots in Baton Rouge. They're here to help. So if you want a look at your roof before storm season begins, check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com and request that inspection. They're happy to do it. And if you need a new roof, they've got financing options available. Lifetime Roofing, they're online at lifetimeroofingla.com. All right, Lane Kiffin met with the media earlier today, and I want to spend this part of the show on LSU's offensive and defensive lines. And it starts with a defensive lineman who is very obviously made some strides here in this spring. I was watching Deuce Gerald's on Saturday at the scrimmage, and specifically in the individual drills where he was lining up. And oftentimes he's at defensive tackle, and that's where you'd expect him to be. That's what he was recruited to do. But they also have lined him up on the edge, and he's played some end. And I think they're just kind of looking at what use they can get out of him in year one here as a true freshman. And that's intriguing to me because I think he's made significant strides. And Lane Kiffin was asked about Deuce Gerald's today.
Yeah, Deuce has done a phenomenal job, major impact. I always talk to coaches to think about these guys used to still be in high school, before everybody became mid-years. And for him to come in and play at the level he plays at, but practice the way that he does, and it says a lot about his coaching in high school, it says a lot about his upbringing with his parents, because that's very unique to be able to handle all that. He's going to be a great player here, and really enjoy coaching him too because of his just mindset. Saturday night, I think I was going out on the field for a jog. He's the only one out there, by himself at night, just hitting the sled all by himself. Speaks volumes to who he is when no one's looking. What do you do?
There's always a small part of me when a true freshman makes a push like this that says, okay, how much of this is precocious talent, guy who's ready for it, had the upbringing, had the coaching, body's in shape, ready to roll? And how much is they don't have anybody better than him? That's a problem. And this is not the time for that discussion, but increasingly, high schoolers are preparing and are prepared for college more quickly. And there's no question that arriving on a college campus in January is more advantageous for an October freshman than it is if you show up in July. Like, that 6 months is a big deal. The weight program, understanding practices, even just being away from your parents for the first time and learning how to live in college while you're not trying to prepare for Clemson's offensive line. I just think that there's a chance Deuce Gerald's is a pretty impactful player on this team, and it feels that way right now. So let's move over to the offensive side of the football, specifically the offensive line. Lincoln was asked an open-ended question today about what position group has been the most surprising in a good way and developed the most in the spring, and he went towards that offensive line.
I mentioned the offensive line, with so many new guys, has come along well. I think in general, just the understanding of our expectations, how to practice, how to work, how to prepare, that's come a long ways, and I'm really pleased with that in general of the players. In my opinion, you never know this time of year, okay, do we have enough elite players to make a really deep run? But I do know this, we have really good culture kids that chose to come here have really bought in. The ones that stayed have really bought into the changes. So that's been really good because that's not always easy. So that part's been really good.
So that's good. They're buying in. They're changing the way they do things, and they need a lot of changes on the offensive line. That has to happen, no question. And then Lane followed up on that with what do you need to see from the offense moving forward through the rest of spring, which is coming up on a week.
Yeah, there's a ton of work to still be done there. Very pleased really in the last week, like what I said about the progression of the offense. And again, just everybody feeling each other out. Players, coaches, new coaches, everything together. And it was very concerning early on offensively. I think you guys could probably tell that in my responses. And so it's been really good. We're headed the right direction, but there's still a ton of work to do.
I can tell you unequivocally that statement is true. That scrimmage we saw 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, as it were now, was atrocious by the offense. It was awful. It was awful. Awful. And they were significantly better on Saturday. And I think that's a testament to the progression of that group. Now, we all know they don't have their starting quarterback out there. That's a big deal. We all know that the defense has a lot more continuity. That's a big deal. And so you should expect the defense to win early. But the offense is throwing some haymakers now, and they were good again today. I wasn't out there, but I read Matt's practice report, and he'll tell you a little bit more about it coming up, I'm sure, in his first hour today. But they're making progress. I'm not here to tell you they're going to be third in the country in scoring. They're making progress. And that something that I've taken from this is that Lane Kiffin was telling the media the truth when he said the offense was bad, and he's telling the media the truth when he says they're making strides. And that's just something I file away for when he says things moving forward in press conferences, because I've covered coaches who just throw flowers on everything. Les was like that. Les, after practice, would just say, that guy was good, these guys were great, this was awesome. Everything was great at practice. We were never allowed in there for a significant amount of time, so we just had to take his word for it. Everything was always great. Paul Maneri will get up there and tell you, yeah, this was terrible. We had an awful workout. Can't do it. And Jay Johnson will do the same thing. We had a practice on Tuesday before the game, and it went terribly. We had a practice, and it was awesome. Had our best day of work this day. And, again, I don't care how you handle press conferences, but it's my job as someone who takes the press conference content and distributes it to you, the listener, to have a reasonable expectation of the person I'm listening to. And Lane has told the truth on those things thus far. So I'll monitor that. I'll continue to parse through press conference answers and figure out exactly what I should take and what I should dismiss. I think he's telling the truth when he talks about the offense really making some strides. And the last piece of this is, how's the running game made the defense better? This was an answer that didn't necessarily go too deep because they're not tackling, and he'll tell you that. But LSU's offense is different, and this defense is having to look at it. So what's that doing to help the defense?
We really haven't tackled, so, I don't know that we've made them much better in the run game offensively. But Blake does a great job. Players play really hard for him. He's a great motivator, and so I really like that because it creates a competitive atmosphere out there, and be excited when Witt gets back out there, and so we're at full strength, and to really have really highly competitive practices in the run game, especially as we eventually tackle at some point.
And that will come in August. That will not come in April, because he doesn't see that as value, and I'm okay with that. Trying to keep guys healthy, spend a lot of money on them, try to keep them upright, get them to the fall through summer conditioning. So that's a look at LSU football here on this Tuesday. Done some LSU football today. I gave a practice report at the end of hour number 1. Glenn talked a little bit about football as well. So if you're looking for LSU football content, you can always find it at Hunt on LSU. That's Hunt on LSU. Looking for Saints content, you can find that at Hunt on Saints. I gave you my Saints wish list for the draft on Thursday. These are the 5 guys in order that I would like the Saints to take. If you want to check that out, you can at the in hour number 1, or of course on Hunt on Saints. We're going to continue with our Saints talk with Sharief Ishaq. He'll be covering the draft on Thursday. We're excited to talk to him and get into some Saints when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. SwingEasyGCBR.com. Be a member. Be a member at Swing Easy Golf Club. Allows you to pop in there at lunch, pop in there after work. You get some perks by being a member. You get a number of hours at the beginning of the month complimentary. You can entertain clients there with a corporate membership. Maybe an awesome place to entertain them. It's a great place. You go by, you get a private bay, comfortable seating, crank some tunes, turn on the simulator, play some Pebble Beach, play that course where they give out that jacket. You can do that too. Get mulligans if you need them. Scratch golfers, beginners. It's welcoming to all skill levels over there at Swing Easy Golf Club, and memberships are available. Stop in and see them, Segan at Perkins, and just ask about a membership. You can also check that out online at swingeasygcbr.com. Again, they are on Segan at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Brought to you by Immense Networks, Cloud IT Management. Think of Immense as a consultant for IT. They're there to help. They're there to help you. Not only, this computer's frozen, can you fix that? Because that's what I think of when I think of IT. They're actually there to help you grow your business, to function better with their ability to manage your IT and do things that you may not have thought of with technology. That's what Immense does. They've been in business doing it for 20 years. 24/7, 365 custom solutions for your information technology. A lot of times you don't know things are broken or why things are acting the way they are. That's what Immense can figure out as they monitor your IT 24/7. Check them out online at immense.net. If you feel like your IT department is overwhelmed or is not performing the way that you think it could, Immense can help. Not here to take anybody's job. They're here to help. That's what Immense can do. Check them out online, immense.net, immense.net. Sharief Ishaq with us from WDSU down in New Orleans. Sharief, it's been a long ride, but we finally made it to the draft. How we doing?
Good. I'm actually doing a mock draft as we talk on the phone right now.
What does that mean?
That means I'm doing a mock draft for the 100th time. I'm going through one of these draft simulators, and I'm picking guys for the Saints. And I keep landing on the same 3 guys with the 8th overall pick.
All right, I'm going to talk about the 8th overall pick in a second. But how many rounds is this mock draft that you do?
I'm doing all 7 rounds.
What do you know about the 6th round pick from North Dakota State?
0. All I know
Okay.
is Lance Fields. I think it's Lance Fields' brother, or is that his name? Plays quarterback. His brother is also a receiver at North Dakota State.
Okay.
All I know.
Well, that's my deal. It's like I cannot be asked to be an expert on guys that might come off the board in the 5th or 6th round. I should be able to give you a nice scouting report on those that are available at 8 overall. You start getting into the 5th round, I'll just see what happens and let the die fall where they may. But you're a better man than I. Let's talk about the first round. You said the same 3 guys. Let me guess them. Let me guess the 3 guys. It's Reuben Bain. It is Carnell Tate. It's Mansour Delane.
Well, I would say I would remove one of those guys, and that would be Carnell Tate, and replace him with his teammate on the other side of the ball, Caleb Downs.
Okay.
The main 3 guys that I keep running into, which makes sense because you see all the mock drafts from all the national experts, and whenever they are mock drafting the 8th overall pick, it's those 3 guys, and you see a different variation. And, yeah, you see Carnell Tate in that mix, but I truly think Carnell Tate is off the board. If not, the Saints just run up to the podium and take him in a heartbeat.
You believe Carnell Tate is significantly better than Jordan Tyson?
I think he's healthier.
Sure.
And he can run routes at all 3 levels. He's a good deep ball runner. He's a good guy who can run across the middle, contested catches, run after catch. Now, he's not the fastest guy, runs a 4.55, whatever. But still, once again, look at the tape. The tape doesn't lie. I don't care about combines. I don't care about pro days. The same goes for Reuben Bain. Are you good on the field? And both guys are really good on the field. All those guys I just named are really good on the field. I know what people want to say, well, Tyson is better than Tate. And you might be right. He probably is better. But guess what? He hasn't been able to stay healthy in college. What's going to happen when he plays in a 17-game NFL season every single year? And I think the thing that's worrisome are those soft tissue injuries, like the hamstring. The broken bone is not a problem because a lot of people know it's broken bones and they've been fine. But those soft tissue injuries, hamstrings and knees and all that stuff, cartilage and ligaments, that's tough, man. That's tough for me to deal with. But, like, when healthy, Hunt, he's the best receiver in the draft for sure.
He's certainly a heck of an athlete. I think everyone is kind of on the same page with these Saints picks as far as there's just a lot of options. They should be in good shape. Just got to make sure they make the right pick. I'm curious for you personally if you believe there is a reasonable pick on the board that would be a big mistake.
Oof. I would think, man.
No is a fine answer, but I'm just curious if there's something you've seen you're like, they better not do that.
It's offensive line.
Okay.
It truly does feel like offensive line to me. And I understand that Francis Mauigoa could be a very talented guy. Spencer Fano could be very good. It's just, man, it doesn't move the needle for what this team needs to start winning the next 2 years. And, yeah, I mean, they can do it, but at the same time, are you really willing to move Fuaga for the 3rd straight season if you're drafting another offensive lineman and maybe he struggles on the 3rd straight move? I mean, to me, it makes no sense. But to them, it might make sense because that's what they do. We're all probably talking about all the Tates and the Downs and the Mansour Delanes and Baines, and we're just not thinking what they usually do is offensive line. might be laughing at us, dude. They might be like, all these guys talking about these position players are forgetting about what we've done in recent years, and that's offensive line.
What about Delane? How's that fit if that's what they decide to do?
I'd be fine with Mansour Delane. It feels like that's somebody that you could plug in and start right away. You can move one of the other two inside, and it feel like it'd be Quincy Riley. And it's no disrespect to those guys when you say that. You're about to say something disrespectful, but I just don't know if I'm ready to fully trust those two at, cornerback 1 and cornerback 2 on the outside this season. And maybe they grow after the season and become very, very good starters. But, I want a sure thing. You give me Mansour Delane, and I'm good with it. And then you got 3 solid cornerbacks on the field. So, once again, I am not upset with any of those 4 guys at number 8.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know if Riley and McKinstry have earned number 1 monikers to this point. Certainly Mansour Delane hasn't, but I feel like if I'm looking at those 3 players and looking at the upside, Delane feels like he has the highest upside. Just a matter of how quickly he can grow into that, and it can take some time at that level with those guys running routes. They're pretty damn good. That's a look at the first round. I think everyone's pretty comfortable with the names there. Do you have 2 or 3 for me with that second round pick, or maybe a position that you would like to see them address more quickly than the others?
Okay, let's just say hypothetically Tate's off the board at number 8, and they go defense. Let's just say they go Caleb Downs at number 8, and then here you go. You're looking at a receiver. Realistically, I know everyone's saying Casey Concepcion, but dude, he's not going to be there at number 42. If he's there at number 42, once again, I treat it like the Carnell Tate situation.
Yeah.
You run the podium and you pick Casey Concepcion. But if he's not there, I like Chris Bell. Chris Bell, I've mentioned him a few times now. I like him a lot because he was Tyler Shuck's teammate at Louisville, and then I see that Tyler Shuck apparently has been voicing his opinion about wanting to have Chris Bell on this team. So maybe you give the quarterback what he wants if you go defense in the first round. He'd be one guy. And if you don't go receiver, and let's just say you go defense, even if it's like Bain or Downs in the first round, you can look at cornerback. You can go try to find a cornerback in the second round. Maybe Chris Johnson from San Diego State. Maybe Keontae Scott.
That's
Keontae
right, from
Scott
Miami. Yeah,
really good. So I'd be okay with one of those, 2 picks for a receiver. I mean, cornerback or receiver in the second round seems like a no-brainer if they go Bain, Downs, or Tate somehow in the first round. I would be okay with Downs and then another cornerback or receiver in the second round because I think Downs, he can play all over the field, but I still think that, if you can get a Scott or a Johnson in the second round or a talented high-level receiver in the second round, you're in good shape. Look, they're in a really good spot at 8 and 42, even at 73, because of the amount of talent and depth this draft has and positions of need for this team at edge, receiver, cornerback, guard, and even tight end. There's a lot of depth in those positions, so I think they're sitting pretty.
One name we haven't talked about, and I'll bring it back to the first round here because it just dawned on me. We have not talked about Sonny Styles yet. What do you think?
He's an alien, man. He's one of a kind. He started his career as a safety, and then now he's a linebacker. I think that would be a type of toy that Brandon Staley would love to have on his defense because he probably thinks endless possibilities. Drop in coverage, go after the running back, go after the quarterback. I realistically don't think he's there, but if he's there, he's also another option. But then you start thinking, man, well, then I just signed Caden Ellis,
right?
Werner, but I'm starting to fade a little on Pete Werner. You got Danny Stutzman, you have Isaiah Stallbird, and I guess it's hard. You think about it, it's so hard to pass on somebody who's a phenom, but at the same time, you don't know what he's going to be either at the next level because of the amount of moves he's made. But he's a freak in nature. But I think you look at him, and I think the Giants probably snag him at number 5. Is my guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking at it's just not a need for the Saints right now. It's more of a luxury, maybe best player available type deal, but I don't know that it would fit a need. And the Saints they have needs, and so I think that's an interesting deal. Last question here, big picture. I've asked you this before, but I'll ask it again because it's more pertinent now with the time that we're in. It's always, what have you done for me lately? The last draft was good. The ones before that, What's the confidence level in the Saints fan base in Loomis, Ireland, Moore, to get these picks right this year?
Well, I think that, like, knowing where they sit at in this draft, and like I said, the amount of depth and talent this draft has at their needs, I think they're very confident. I think that, like, they feel like they can't mess up number 8. Knock on wood. They can't mess up number 8. Truly. There's so much talent, Hunt, at number 8, and they feel confident that, Mickey, Jeff, and the front office can get that done. And even at 42. After that, we'll see. But 73 is also a good spot. But I think they're feeling very good. I mean, this draft, couldn't be any better for the Saints at this point in terms of how they can reload this team and fix a lot of their positions. Every time I do one of these simulators, man, I feel like there's always a really good player there. The realistic players. I take the Jeremiah Love off the board and the Sonny Styles off the board because you start seeing them every once in a while when I do one of these. But they're really sitting pretty, Hunt. I mean, and I think Mickey has a chance to continue building good grades with the fan base. I mean, he really does if he continues what they did last year. I mean, I know it's an every 10 years type of thing almost, but I feel like just the way this is set up, they can also do this again and hit somewhat of a double or a triple in this draft.
I really feel like they're one draft away from creating that base. Then you roll some contracts off, and you can be more aggressive next year in free agency, and you should be, if you do it right there. But you've got the next 5 days are just beyond important to this franchise. We'll see if they get it done. Sharief, we'll talk this time next week.
You got it, bud. See you next week.
Sharief Ishaq, WDSU down in New Orleans. Saints on the clock, number 8 overall, coming up on Thursday. I'll give you my projected pick for New Orleans tomorrow. If you missed it, I gave you my wish list 1 through 5 as to who I thought the Saints would take, who I would take if I were the Saints at 1 through 5 reasonably. That was in the first hour. You can catch it at Hunt on Saints, all of our Saints content, Hunt on Saints. And Ross Jackson is all over it. As I told you yesterday, Ross has nailed the last 2 first-round picks for the Saints. He'll have his pick coming up on Thursday. We'll see if he hits a third one in a row right on out of the park. We'll come back and close out a Tuesday show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. Bank local. Bank with the local company. Well, why should you bank local? Well, that's because the people that are making the decisions at First American Bank and Trust about your commercial loan, about the loan for your business, about the loan for your family and your home, they're local too. You see them at church. Their kids are in school with yours. You may have gone to school with them. They're local here in Southeast Louisiana. 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. Jones Creek and Dutchtown around Baton Rouge. Hammond up there in St. Tammany, Tangipahoa Parish. Down the bayou, St. James, St. John, Lafourche, over in Metairie. First American Bank and Trust is local. And when I say local, that doesn't mean some mom and pop shop that can't fit the needs of your sizable business. No, 25 locations. They can handle it. It's First American Bank and Trust, the local banking option. You can find them online, FABT.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, wrapping things up here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. If you're looking for something to do this evening, you can come check me out. Sports trivia at Court the Table on Burbank, 8 o'clock. We'll be watching LSU and UNO. You can win gift cards. Great food over there at Court the Table. Fantastic drinks. We always have a good time over there at Court the Table. If you've never done it, come on by and see us tonight. Grab a team. You can come by yourself as well. We play in the bar area there. It's always a lot of fun. So come by and see me, Court to Table, 8 o'clock tonight for sports trivia every single Tuesday. Have you out of there by about 9:15, 9:20 every single week. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, Hunt, we have some international news going on. So children in the United Kingdom
If they have not reached the age of 18 by January 1st of 2027, they will be forever banned from buying cigarettes or tobacco products in the United Kingdom. Once this new law is completely filled through Parliament by King Charles III, whatever they got going on over there. So that means people born after January 1st, 2009 would never be eligible to buy cigarettes. They're the second country to do this. New Zealand was the first in 2023. So smokeless generation, take it or leave it.
I mean, I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take it. I'm one of the few. I have never smoked anything in my entire life. I don't even know how. I have no idea how to smoke. It seems from the outside to be extremely unpleasant to suck smoke into your mouth. I don't.
Yeah.
Never done it. No idea. Not gonna have any interest. Never gonna do it. But it has been legal, and if you want to do that, it's fine. I just not necessarily love it kind of around me.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. Oh my God.
So yeah, I'm gonna take it, but I understand that's gonna be a bummer for. Well, I guess it's not really a bummer unless you started smoking when you were 14 and now they're taking it away from you.
You really
if you're
don't.
22, you can still smoke. So I guess there aren't that many people that are gonna be adversely affected by it. Whatever.
It's crazy. I actually want to see how this is going to turn out. A smokeless generation. So these kids, I just feel like now people are going to be dying over cigarettes. I don't
Turn into a black
For
market.
real, it's going to be a black market for cigarettes. All right, so Billy Donovan has decided to step down as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls after 6 seasons. The Bulls announced that they wanted him to stay, but Billy Donovan felt that he wanted to step away from the team, and the team respected his decision. So is Billy secretly trying to go back to college basketball? Take it or leave it?
I think I'm taking it.
I'll take it.
Somebody's speculating about this.
He's only 60 years old.
Yeah, you just let Mark Pope flame out one more year in Lexington and then take that
He'll
job.
be calling.
That sounds fine. People are not happy with Mark Pope in Lexington right now. He did not have the year they were looking for. Almost got beat by Santa Clara, then got beat in the second round, and the portal is just not going very well right now for Kentucky. So they're cranky. Maybe Billy Donovan's their guy. They ride it out one more year with Pope and then get rid of him.
That would be crazy. So the PGA Tour has announced that the Sentra and Sony tournaments in Hawaii will not be on the schedule for the first time since the 1960s. So take it or leave it.
I'm leaving it. This is devastating news to me.
Okay.
Everybody has that sport that's a little bit niche that they like. Some MMA, some boxing,
UFC,
some NASCAR, some golf, some tennis. You got something. It's not like you're number one, but I love golf, obviously. I look forward to every year, the first 2 weeks of the year, first week of January, second week of January, they're in Hawaii.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. I'm not in Hawaii, right? But with the time difference, it comes on at 6 p.m. It's the only time all year I can watch golf from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., after the kids go to bed. I love primetime golf. Plus, it's freezing here in January, and it's beautiful, 90 and beautiful there. It's just a nice thing to see on your TV.
Yeah.
I love the Hawaii tournaments. And they're gone, and I'm bummed about that.
Is there a reason why they're gone, or
they're changing the schedule up? I think they're gonna send that week to Torrey Pines in San Diego. I'm bummed. I love those 2 weeks. The scenes at Kapalua, which is number 2 on my public golf bucket list.
Okay, that's high.
It's very high.
Yeah.
I loved watching that week. It's in the mountains, and it's got these unbelievable views of the ocean, and it's just these holes are huge, and I love watching it.
Are they wearing Hawaii themed?
Some of the guys put on some different things. They put some. That tournament is for all the winners the previous year. The only way you can get into it is
winners.
if you won. If you won on the tour the previous year, then you can play in it.
Little treat.
It's always great, and I'm really bummed that there's no primetime golf moving forward.
All right, so to finish up, Florida forward Thomas Howell will return to the Gators for his senior season. He told ESPN, delaying an opportunity as a potential lottery pick. So will this be the new norm? Lottery picks skipping the NBA draft to go back to school. Take it or leave it.
Norm, leave it.
Okay.
Just leave it alone.
You want to get into the NBA and get to that next contract because look, the NIL stuff is great, grand, wonderful. You go to a school that really cares, you can make some real money in college.
Yep.
You make the money in the NBA.
Most definitely.
So they give money to everybody in the NBA.
Zion Williamson.
Just hang around in the league. They'll dump a bunch of cash on you. They have to spend it. It's in the rules. So, I just don't think it'll be the norm. But college is more is a more appealing thing now than it's ever been because there's a lot of money in it. There was a whole story that was written in The Athletic this week that Riley Leonard and Will Howard.
Oh yeah, they're getting paid.
They got
less.
They got big pay cuts to go to the NFL.
That's
Part of it. They were out of eligibility.
So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it, man.
All
Get
right.
up out of here.
That was a fast show for a Tuesday. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand. I'm bummed about the Jake Brown and Cooper Moore injury, obviously. I talked about it at the top of the show. LSU football practice report, Lane Kiffin sound, Saints talk, 2 different segments. Lots to get into. It's my favorite time of the year. Unfortunately, the baseball team's not cooperating with that. I will still watch them this evening. Hopefully they win. Matt's going to drive you home. He'll talk about all the same stuff we did. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Before we get out of here, Marucci, go take a tour at Marucci. Such a cool story here in Baton Rouge. If you don't know it, you can go learn about it at the campus tour. 2 former big leaguers and their trainer were like, hey, let's make a bat. Made a bat. Pretty good bat. Made a few more bats. Bats were good. People liked the bats. Fast forward 22 years, it's the official bat of Major League Baseball. You can learn step by step how that happened and go check out where they make 1,200 bats every single day to be shipped off to the best in the world. You can go right in there where they make them. See how they're stained. And then you can grab a bat and get in the hitter's house. Take some cuts. Really cool thing you can do over at Marucci. MarucciSports.com/campus-tour is where you get your tickets. And remember, every ticket comes with a 20% discount in the campus tour store as well as the hitter's house. It's all right there. It's all at Marucci.